Around the world, millions of people have to live behind bars, deprived of their freedom. Whatever the reason for their arrest and detention, they're entitled to be treated humanely, with respect for their physical and mental well-being. Detainees are vulnerable, dependent on prison officials to meet their basic needs. Rights to judicial guarantees and to be free of torture and ill treatment are not always respected. And tensions can run high as they struggle to adjust to new rules and routines.
डिप्रेशन है सवार बहुत ज़्यादा जानों पे कपड़ों में जुएं मारते मारते सारा दिन गुजर जाता है रात को जुएं तंग करते हैं.
Providing detainees with humane living conditions is not easy. Prisons are rarely a priority for the state, which is ultimately responsible for them.
Tenemos retos grandes. La parte de infraestructura de los establecimientos penitenciarios es bien delicada en muchas ocasiones porque son instalaciones muy viejas. Tenemos la parte de sanidad, tenemos una población interna que además somatiza cualquier situación y eso se ve reflejado en la necesidad de atención en la parte médica. Es un presupuesto insuficiente frente a la necesidad tan grande que tenemos en atención.
But even with few resources, practical solutions can usually be found to most problems. Since 1915, the International Committee of the Red Cross has been visiting detainees worldwide to improve their treatment and conditions of detention. The 1949 Geneva Conventions gave the ICRC the right to visit prisoners of war and civilian internees in international armed conflicts. In other situations, it negotiates access with the authorities. In line with the changing nature of armed conflict, the organization also tries to visit political prisoners, security and common law detainees. Today, ICRC delegates visit around 500,000 detainees in some 80 countries every year. By going into prisons, delegates see for themselves what conditions are really like. This helps them to work out possible solutions on a case-by-case basis. But before the ICRC starts work, certain conditions have to be agreed. Delegates must have access to all detainees. They should be able to visit every part of the prison used by and for detainees. Delegates must be able to talk to any detainee freely and in private. A complete list of the detainees being held must be drawn up by the delegates and authorities. Visits must be repeated. Agreement to these conditions provides a strong basis for cooperation. Each visit follows a set pattern. It starts with a discussion with the person in charge of the prison. This is an opportunity to review the situation and any previous recommendations.
Has he had problems transferring people to the hospital that they are not willing to accept that transfer?
امکانش تداوی در شفاخانه خودمون میشه. تمام چیزش آماده کرده دکتر از اینجا میاد با تداوی اینا. غیر دکترایی که شما دیگه کلان دکترها هر روز خودشون وظیفه دارن اینجا میاد.
The delegates and the authorities then check on the facilities used by and for the prisoners, from the cells to the interrogation rooms, from the kitchens to the latrines.
4 at a time, and then this is for their personal needs.
18.
Okay.
The cornerstone of the visit is a private interview with the detainee. Away from the authorities and other detainees, the prisoner can speak freely about his or her concerns.
دا ما خو درته ویل دا دونه کومک له موږ سره کړی ده چې بیخي یعنې موږ ګرو کړي یاستو د دوی دا کومک دا کومې مرستې له موږ سره کړي دي او د موږ د فامیل سره یې کړي له ما سره یې کړي شخصا ما خبرې ورسره کړي دي همیش دپاره به چې باګرام ته راغلل 10 دقیقې 15 دقیقې به هم خبرې ورسره کولې او هلته به یې د موږ خبرو ته غوږ نیوه دغه موږ ته بیخي دونه ارزښت لري چې لکه دا نیم افغانستان چې موږ ته رابخلی.
Delegates also register any detainees they consider at risk, so that they can check on them during follow-up visits. In these cases, repeat visits are particularly important. What is said during private interviews is only passed on to the authorities with the express consent of the detainee. At the end of the visit, the delegates meet the prison authorities to discuss concrete measures to improve detention conditions and management. This is followed up with a confidential report.
We work confidentially because it allows a trustful relationship to develop between the ICRC and the authorities, and also between the ICRC and the detainees. That in turn allows the ICRC to access places of detention which otherwise would remain closed for outsiders, and allows us to see for ourselves the real situation for the detainees and for the authorities on site, and to address problems that we have identified together with the authorities in an open, constructive and frank dialogue.
In all regions of the world, intimidation and violence are used to obtain confessions or silence dissent. Such abuse leaves physical and psychological scars that can last for years.
La première impression que j'ai eue, c'était dans abattoir, parce que partout il avait du sang, il faisait noir, froid, ils m'ont
والله شعوري في الحقيقة أنني وأنا في هذا المركز فقدت قيمتي كإنسان، لم أعد إنسان كائن بشري، يعني تحولت إلى لا شيء، إلى حتى اسمي لم يعد لدي اسم، لم تعد لدي هوية، لم تعد لدي كينونة، فأنا يعني عبارة عن لا شيء.
Gaining access to people during the first stages of detention is key to limiting the risk of disappearance and ill treatment.
Torture and abuse of detainees is wrong. And the good news is that many authorities actually agree with us on that issue. It's a very complex phenomenon, has many different causes, and you have to work with the authorities on those causes in order to have a chance to resolve the issue and bring about change. So it needs a lot of patience. Change doesn't come overnight. You have to persevere, and you have to hang in there for the long haul, and this is what the ICRC does. So we stay and stick with that issue for the long term.
أعتقد بكل الصور سواء التعذيب أو أي شكل من أشكال الإساءة وسوء المعاملة ليس له أي نتائج إيجابية، بل على العكس هي نتائج سلبية على شخص الضحية وعلى القائم بالتعذيب سواء كانت يعني جهة أو دولة معينة.
Abuse is less likely to occur when judicial guarantees are respected. These include the right to a lawyer and a doctor, the right to know the reason for arrest and detention, and to challenge this before a judge. But if the minimum legal safeguards are not respected, the authorities are reminded of their obligations to the detainees in their care.
Now this is an issue we will have to discuss with the new director and to foresee.
Overcrowding can have a huge impact on living conditions. Sometimes detainees can wait months, even years, before their case comes to trial. This adds to the pressure on facilities that are already stretched. Improving coordination between the police, justice and prison authorities can speed up the process. In some cases, the ICRC can help to improve the water and sanitation networks, accommodation, food or medical care.
Together with the authorities, we make projects and we try to see how we can share the costs, what the jails can do, what we can do, and at the end the idea is to improve the conditions of detention.
Dire conditions of detention can sometimes transform a prison sentence into a death sentence. In emergencies, relief assistance has been provided for detainees. Detainees in this prison were so short of food that they were dying of starvation. A feeding center had to be set up to treat the most seriously malnourished. A new kitchen was built and food management systems were improved.
از کمک‌های شما ما مردم تمام دنیا میفهمه کمک‌های شما را اگه نیکی در یک ماه کمک کرده باشین پیش شما هم نیست این تاجیک هستی ازبک هستی جنبشی هستی طالب هستی افغان هستی ازبک هستی.
Prisons can be a breeding ground for highly infectious diseases like tuberculosis and scabies, which spread in confined spaces. The ICRC can work with the authorities to provide medical and laboratory expertise, equipment and drugs to control tuberculosis within and outside the prison walls.
At one point, detainees leaving prison walls, they go back to their lives in the civilian society, and they bring with them illness, and without proper TB control in prisons, we cannot control TB in the society at large.
In some cases, vocational training is made available for prisoners to prepare them for the world of work.
يكون بالنسبة لي حلو لما تعلمت الدراسة والخياطة ده يكون مناسب هذا الشغل معي.
For many prisoners, one of the most difficult aspects of detention is to be cut off from their loved ones. Red Cross messages help prisoners keep in contact with their families. These open letters to relatives contain personal news only.
So it's to Pakistan, so we can just explain to them that we just have to give it to the authorities to check, and then we'll send it to his family in Pakistan.
The messages are often the first news a family has had since their relative was arrested.
भाइ हराएको धेरै नै भयो थियो थाहा थिएन हैन कहाँ छ के छ भन्ने थाहा थिएन आज अचानक खुसी भयो आज अचानक चाहिँ तपाईलाई सम्झाएर लिएर आउनुभयो मलाई एकदम खुसी लाग्यो भाइ रहेछ हैन.
Modern technology has also made it easier for families to make contact. In Afghanistan and Guantanamo Bay, video phone links have been set up by the ICRC and US military authorities so that families from some 20 different countries can see and talk to their detained relatives. But video phone links are no substitute for family visits. Based on long experience, the ICRC has developed insight into the complexities of managing places of detention. By listening and talking to detainees, delegates can identify humanitarian problems.
Nuestra visita al ICR para nosotros es muy importante porque sabemos de que aunque nosotros no podamos hacer nada, hay alguien que lo puede hacer, que al menos puede llegar a saber bien internamente qué está pasando con nosotros acá, cómo lo están tratando.
Working together with the authorities can help to bring about change.
If we can't change anything at the immediate level of those directly responsible for the place of detention, then we have to go to another level, a higher level. We have to find somebody eventually in that chain of command who is prepared to take responsibility, cooperate with us to improve or change the situation.
And the ICRC can empower those in charge to change things for the better.
Es muy importante señalar que el acompañamiento del comité es clave en la vida del instituto, porque es la visión de un tercero neutral y muy profesional respecto de lo que hacemos y cómo lo hacemos. Eso nos enriquece y nos ayuda a mejorar.